Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, September 13th. This is the day of the week, folks, so we go ahead and turn back our production time to 10 p.m. London time to go ahead and share the cheer and of disclosure with all of our friends across the great pond known as the Atlantic Ocean. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look and see who the heck we have out there in the chat, and let's get this thing going. Remember, folks, it's free to join the chat. Join the channel, have a fun time, and let's see who we have out there. Mega Rules is here along with April R. Coleman. We got Bob Lazar, Benjamin Dreyer, and Brendan England. I see Brian Brains, Carl Joe Garrison's in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. We got Kathy Spire, Dan Loeb, Eliza Teal. Gray Hair Discoveries is here along with Hank Fowler, Idaho Strong, John Loop, Kane Northup, Kathy, and Kelly Brote in those piercing blue eyes. Love you, Kelly. Lazo's here along with Megan Betts. We got Mr. Grimlock, Ms. Cuss Out. Necessary Dialogue just popped in. Good to see you, my friend. Peter Tremulous is here along with Rodney Cox, Rough Reddy, and Sam, followed by the Shelley Montgomery. Good to see you, Shelley. Super Unknowns here along with the Coin 405. We got Chuck and Pawpaw, Wasteland Wonder. Terrence Wills just popped in, I think. And then other people we've got Wasteland Wanderer and, of course, Wee Beastie. How about that? Let me jump into the studio by myself. Mike is not here. I can play a sound effect, but he will not be gracing us tonight. Well, he may be popping it eventually, like Genie, but he's got Fuck You Friday day 2 in a row. So he's dealing with a bunch of the honeydew list because, hey, he's got some family company coming tomorrow and the house has to be perfect. You've all been married. You know how that goes. So our hearts and souls are with you, my friend, as we're seeing the British flag going. Oh, yes. We're going to cover that here in Disclosure tonight. My gosh, there is a mostly peaceful protest going on in London today. It's an amazing sight. If I can go ahead and find where's my browser that I need. Oh, there it is. I've got some clips of this. It is an amazing turnout of what's going on. It seems that the British people are uniting and saying we're tired of this shit, which I completely agree with. So if I get past, I gotta that one. Let me get back to where am I going? Oh yeah, my bookmarks. I've got a bunch of clips. The British government, the BBC, would probably say there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people showing up in London today. If I can get this video clip here a little bit larger and bring it across, let's jump right into it. Oh, where documents solo. Here we go, folks. Would you look at that? Just a few people hanging out in the United Kingdom today, showing their support for what's going on. I'm seeing a lot of red, white, and blue. Could be the stars, not the stars and bars, but the flag for the United Kingdom. Andy, my friend, what are your thoughts? Is it solidarity? Is it showing nationalism? Is it showing pride in being a UK citizen?
Oh, I'm probably going to get arrested for saying this, but yes, I believe it is. That's the Union Jack mostly being shown there, I think. So,
yeah,
we don't have the dreaded, George Cross that's being shown, which seems to upset quite a few people. So, yeah, there's quite an undercurrent of anger in the country brewing at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say a lot more than that.
No, you don't have to, because I can say it for you. It looks like it's the revolt of the peasants against the king, like you used to get back in the days.
Yeah, it may well be.
Except they're not yelling off with their heads yet. Hopefully, we'll see where that goes. I think that was more in France than it was in the United Kingdom, if I take my history right.
Yeah, we never guillotined any of our kings. The French did that, but we tended to send them into battle if you didn't like them a great deal, and they either came back or they didn't.
We got another view. Oh, it just seems like there's a couple people out there who are happy with their government. Wow, they're saying millions of people. I would have to agree. It looks like a ton of people that are out there trying to go ahead and stand up in solidarity for the country that they loved so dearly.
Yeah. I will say from a personal, and I'm not putting my political stance on here or anything.
No, that's dangerous.
But I try not to be, political. But I've never known, I think, certainly in my lifetime, not just in this country. I have to say your last election, whether people are going to like me or not, was rather tainted. I've never seen such a debacle and such a calamity before a political party as what's happening here in the UK. It's interesting.
It's interesting. Some people are calling out normal, concerned people, families, mothers, and children are also being represented as far right. It just looks like people who are average, everyday citizens who are out there. Unless they're saying there's that many far right people, they're going to have to lock them all up, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's some of the things that people have been saying, and some of the things that have been said on both sides. We've seen with the unfortunate happening that occurred in your country the other day. The absolute travesty, and I'm going to say this, but he was a parent of two very young children.
Yeah.
End of the day, that's I have them in my mind. I don't, at this point in time, I don't give a rat's ass about your political leanings, but some of the things people commending that the bloke was assassinated. He had two young children.
Yeah.
I'm a parent of two children. Mine are young teenagers, but his children certainly his youngest one will never ever know their father. And that's what really, really annoys me. Call your rhetoric on both sides, for God's sakes. It's what happens. All I'm going to say on him, on Charlie, was he debated people. Whether you like his opinions, whether you like what he stood for, he was there to debate people. So, end of the day, that's what he was doing. He was having a debate, and that's where people need to speak. So, that's all I'm saying on it.
And it wasn't yelling, it wasn't screaming, it was just literally debate, talking back and forth in a normal tone, which was something that was impressive for someone not to have that kind of emotion, because it can come from one side or the other. And if it gets too strong, well, we see what potentially happens, unfortunately.
And I will follow up. You, Thomas, Mike, our lovely Laura, I know there are going to be things that I might think about and stand for, but probably you don't. But we're all grown up enough to understand that, okay, that's my opinion. As you always say on here, what is it? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got
you're
one.
either talking out one or out the other.
Yeah,
everyone's got two. That's what my dad used to say, at least. So
I like to think, certainly in this this podcast, this broadcast, we can all be grown up and agree to disagree.
Yeah.
So trying to be a little bit of a voice of reason. I don't know that it'll ever come through. You can take it from a long-haired beardy. I'm not by the way, I'm not a hippie.
No.
So I'm a metalhead. So there we are. But just cool your rhetoric, people, and definitely. And I will be saying any comments at the moment regarding either side of this. I will be maybe hitting people with a spanner. So
hit them with a spanner. You've got the El Kabong wrench. Go ahead. If people go one way, two way, or the other, we're going to come here and talk about Atlas and everything else. We got a lot of good stuff. But before we get to Atlas, we kind of got into this. We were talking about the stuff in the United Kingdom because there's a ton of shit going on. I know we kind of got into the politics of the United States and Trans-Tifa and all that kind of stuff.
We're actually blessed. Chromosome Cowboy has actually put his hand up. So actually, I think he wants to speak. So
there we go. Oh, can't wait. We got Stephen Greer coming up soon. So, oh, yes, it's a good one. Chromosome Cowboy, your hands up.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Is it a good thing that we can hear you?
Yes, brilliant. Thank you. It was absolutely brilliant. There was lots of politicians from lots of different countries came up, did speeches. Lots of people calling Starmer a wanker. We had a great, Tommy had a great conversation, about 20 minutes with Elon. And the only trouble that there was caused by the Met Police trying to push people in on purpose, basically, just trying to cause trouble.
Yeah. It's a sad situation, and hopefully the country can unite. It seems like they are. Oh, look, Greg is here. So, yeah, interesting things going all together. I'm glad you're here to comment on this. And, Andy, pull it back to here in the United States, but what's going on in the UK? We are here with you. We're there with our friends in the United Kingdom. Although we're across the pond, we're with you in our thoughts and prayers, my friend.
Oh, yeah. And us the same with Charlie Kirk. He was a good friend of Tommy and everybody.
Yeah.
So
sad situations.
Yeah. All
right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. Now, if I get back to this, I got to get it set up here. Let's get into it. In our first clip we've got coming up today, let me get to it. Yes, Dr. Stephen Greer is back, and he's upset. Why? Because I've had several members of Congress tell me that there are a lot of they can't talk to me because Lue Elizondo and David Grush said that I am a Russian sleeper agent and I'm a Russian spy. Ooh, yeah, that aligns to stuff that I heard back in 2021-ish. But I didn't know that he was a sleeper agent. I just thought he was getting funding potentially, supposedly, as I was told, leave it in that context, from Russian oligarchs. So there's a lot of interesting things coming from him, more importantly, from his producer and from a Third Phase of the Moon podcast that may be, well, doing some things that are a little disinformation-ish. Andy, your hands up, my friend?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I believe in the hearing, when we were beforehand, Greer was at the hearing, wasn't he?
Oh, he was, yeah.
Where, did he make it actually into the room? Because I don't distinctly remember seeing any of footage with him.
We did not see him. We did not see him, honestly, in the background of any of the pictures. Granted, there was a woman who they were calling her out as the Danny Sheehan lookalike, who had the big head of hair, but different kind of hair. And Danny's is more curlied and has some mousse in there, I think my mom would say.
Yeah, so I don't know whether he was just unfortunate in where his seating was placed, or, I distinctly remember seeing Jeremy Corbell, and even Matt Brown was right next to Corbell. So, I don't want to cast any aspersions that maybe he was sat in the corner somewhere behind a pillar or anything.
Hot dog. Got to give it to Mr. Catfish 2100 for putting up a hot dog right in front of Mr. Greer's face. I mean, we should say DC Muscle Wolf if anyone needs to look for it. Yeah, the most amazing hot dog. Thank you, my friend. Let's get into this video clip here. All right, I'll leave it down here. Let's just play. We see what he has to say. This is a 40-second clip that we're getting from Emilio Ortez. I believe he had a great conversation with Greer, and I want to hear what Greer has to say with regards to getting shut out for his actions. Here we go.
I'm telling you, if you move in this direction where you're making a big difference globally on this, you're going to have everything thrown at you. Like recently, I had several members of Congress tell me that there are a lot of them that can't talk to me because Lue Elizondo and David Grush have told them that I'm a Russian sleeper agent, that I'm a Russian spy, which is, of course, absurd. But these members of Congress, oh, my God, we don't want to get caught up in a spy ring. And Dr. Greer is a Russian spy. I mean, just batshit, insane, crazy stuff, right?
Well, he's saying batshit crazy stuff, Andy, but if you got to listen to some of the stuff he's saying, is he describing what they're saying about him or what he knows about himself in the first place?
Yeah, I'm To be honest with you, I don't know much about Greer other than what's been talked about on here. I've never jumped on his bandwagon, if you pardon me, any puns towards that.
But if you're going to jump on his bandwagon, we've got plenty of Avi Loeb for you, my friend. I would not suggest that.
I don't disbelieve that. Certainly when he started out, he
had some good intentions. The old Greer before the green and grifting kind of came in, and
I just
dropping flares from planes for events because you're trying to get, say, that you can command the UAP to or the non-human intelligence to perform like dolphins in a SeaWorld setting.
Yeah, and we know how that ends up sometimes.
Especially the killer whales. Yes.
Yeah.
Sad time. Crowzone Cowboy, your hands up.
Yes, I was just wondering whether Russian spy could be a code word meaning cockwomble or something like that.
No, Russian spy. Based on what I heard back in 2021, I think it kind of goes on with that same dialogue that I was exposed to back in those days.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's get on to this. Yes, this is something that Mike had sent across. He wanted us to cover, but Mike is not here right now. So let me jump back into the... Where am I going to go? I can't go here. Let me get back into interview on... where can I go? Interview guest. I guess we'll go here for a second while I look for it. Yes, I've got a bunch of great bookmarks to get into today. Oh, we can't show that one. Nope, don't want to see a furry. And a killer. So, all right. So here we go. We've got a clip here of Lue Elizondo on CNN talking about the Hellfire missile may be evidence of a technology leap over the U.S. by Russia or China? Lue, really? Maybe. Let's find out. Here we go, everybody. There we go. Okay, let's bring it up. All right, here we go, everybody.
This video does require more analysis, and if it turns out that this is something that is a hard object, something tangible, it would be very, very unusual, if not, dare I say, almost impossible, for a Hellfire missile to strike it and not completely destroy it or obliterate it. Think about this for a second, Laura. Imagine if there was some sort of foreign adversary technology developed by the Russians or Chinese that have made our completely nullify our ability to use Hellfire missiles. That would be a technological leap and certainly a national security issue for our country.
Absolutely. I mean, the idea of it bouncing or not obliterating its actual goal is shocking for so many. And there were a number of former military personnel who were among those who testified today. I want you to hear what they had to say when they described the things they claimed to have seen.
I saw an approximately 100-foot equilateral triangle take off from near the NASA hangar on the base. The craft interfered with my telephone, did not have any sound, and the material it was made of appeared fluid or dynamic.
A self-luminous, tic-tac-shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with three other similar objects. The four then disappeared simultaneously with a high synchronized, near instantaneous acceleration.
What questions do you have after all you've seen after hearing something like that?
Well, Laura, the real question I have is why has it taken this long for our government to create whistleblower protections? I have to applaud this committee on increased transparency for UAP and also whistleblower protections. I think you saw it yourself. It's a bipartisan effort. You have both liberals and conservatives walking shoulder to shoulder and all agreeing that we as a nation must do more to protect whistleblowers so this information can get to the right people. In this case, certain committees of Congress and frankly, the president and the National Security Council, which we know have been sequestered for decades of this type of information.
Interesting thoughts coming from Lue Elizondo. You know, it's the obvious that we're hearing here that Lue Elizondo is talking about that the, if you want to call it, the cover-up that we've been dealing with UFOs isn't orchestrated by the Department of Defense. It's orchestrated by the executive branch. It's going to come down to our fearless leader and chief right now, our current president. Fearless leader, that's a good one. Look it up, my friends. Yeah. You just have to look at it and know that the cover-up has been perpetuated from the executive branch going back to 1947 when we had our initial crash, if not before that period of time. But, let's turn our sights on. We've got another interview here, the full one that I promised to find last night. I didn't find it, but I found it this morning. This is a 9.5-minute interview with Lue Elizondo and Ross Coulthart hanging out on News Nation. So let's get this up and queued up. And this is the day of the hearing after things had happened and things had fallen apart in our country. So let's go ahead and hear what Lue and Ross have to say with regards to the hearing and, more importantly, about this dang UAP. All right, let's get into it. Here we go, folks. Let's play it.
On the change train, Congressional Oversight Committee held what they say is a historic hearing. Why? What happened today that changed the game? I've got video that you need to see, and I've got people who understand why today was actually a good day. Next. All right, so today, the House Oversight Committee, I think I can say it. I think they did their job. They had a hearing where they had testimony and proof that absolutely advanced the understanding of what we now call UAPs. 3 U.S. military veterans took the stand, including the first ever testimony from an active duty member. Remember, everybody's afraid to talk about this for whatever reason, because they all say there's nothing to talk about. Then why are they so scared? They described what many others still refuse to publicly acknowledge. They're real. First-hand personal encounters with what we used to call UFOs. Here's what they said in context.
The light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. On top of the craft was this gold lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft.
A self-luminous tic-tac-shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with 3 other similar objects.
The light was strange, it was pulsing, and then it started to maneuver. It dropped in elevation. At times it would vanish from view and reappear in a different location in the sky, and eventually it reappeared 200 feet over my house. It was a 30-foot diameter sphere of light.
These guys are legit, super educated, ridiculously capable, competent people. And they're not talking about little green men. They're saying, I don't know what that is, and it does things that I don't understand, as someone who's in the business of understanding what these things can do. That's why we want to know. They also showed video that was new and gives a new understanding of why we want to know what's happening here. So let me bring in my guests. Perfect. Ross Coulthart, all right, who live streamed the hearings for the network News Nation, and Lue Elizondo, former head of the government's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Lue, it's great to have you. Ross, as always, thank you. Ross, let me tee up what I think mattered most, and feel free to disagree with that assessment. But the idea that one of our best missiles, a Hellfire missile that usually you can't get away from, didn't work with whatever it was fired at on this one occasion. We're showing it, right? And you see the incoming ballistic, Lou. You can help me with this in terms of the jargon. And the thing seems to, like, I thought at first when I saw it that it hit it and it just ricocheted off, end of story. But the people at the hearing were saying, no, that's not what you're seeing. So I want your guys' perspective. What am I missing in this, and why does it matter, Ross?
It matters. G'day, Chris. It matters because that is a Hellfire missile, one of the top missiles in the U.S. military arsenal for combating, surface to air to air. And it frankly didn't make a jot of difference to whatever that object is. And that's significant because what it shows is there is a technology.
Oh, wait a second. I need to jump onto this one really quick. Not a jot of difference? Well, when that Hellfire missile kind of bumped into this thing and stuff came out of it, we had 3 UAPs that came out of it. So did it make a difference? Yes, it didn't stop it. It kept on flying, but it also ejected 3 objects that were very similar that can't be denied. Let me continue.
Unhindered by whatever it is that the US is trying to use against it. This is significant. This is obviously something that I think in the past the United States military, the intelligence community have tried to keep from public knowledge. Is this the reason why they don't want us to know about the UAP mystery? I'd love to know Lue's perspective on this, but frankly, I think this was a turning point in congressional awareness on UAPs, and I think all told, the hearing was significant because Congress has got its mojo back, and this video is a signal of their intention to take the defense and intelligence community on.
Okay, audience, just have to say 2 words: grumpy cat. You know what I'm talking about.
Their unwillingness to engage the public on this mystery.
Lou, in proper context of the informed skepticism on this, it's no. This happens. It's like when somebody gets shot in the head sometimes, the right angle, the right caliber, it can bounce off instead of blowing right through you. This is the same thing. Because of the angle and the speed, it was a glancing blow. You saw some of the stuff came off, and that's all this is. There's nothing special about it other than that.
Well, first of all, I disagree with that perspective. The Hellfire missile is certainly one of the most sophisticated and most capable types of air missiles that we have. We use it to prosecute the global war on terror, in the vernacular, if you will, warheads on foreheads, with such a degree of precision that we can literally fly it through a window and take out a bunch of terrorists. What you are seeing here is basically some sort of technology that is making our premier missile system completely and utterly useless, if you will. It is making it almost irrelevant. So imagine, for example, let's take away the word UAP and just say this was some sort of adversarial technology, UAP technology from Russia. How do you think that would bode well for the Department of Defense and our national security, knowing that Russia has a capability that completely makes all our missiles completely ineffective? This is a significant problem from a strategic perspective, from a tactical perspective, from a national security perspective. This video is extremely compelling, and I wish more of these types of videos would be released, because when I was in ATIP at the time, we had all sorts of videos available to us that frankly would probably knock your socks off. And this is why I'm so happy to see Congress doing what they're doing, especially under the leadership right now of Rep. Luna and her colleagues on the task force. America has a problem right now. Let's face it. The name of this task force is Restoring Public Trust Through UAP Transparency and Whistleblower Protection. This was the title of the hearing for the task force that Luna led. That means we already have a problem. If you have to restore public trust, that means you are already at a disadvantage. You're at a point where you lost it. Yeah.
That's right. It means we lost it. So you're saying today was a good day, that it was a step in the right direction in terms of what was allowed to be said. Now, the next step is, of course, but Lou, you blew the biggest part. Department of Defense, I don't know what that is. You mean the Department of War, right, brother? The Department of War, man. You got to get with the times. It's the Department of War.
Oh, my
Come
God.
on, man.
That's not my decision.
So, Ross.
Oh, my God. I think everybody in this call just realized what the hell he said, and everybody's laughing. Including myself, so I'm not alone on this one. Let's rewind that just a little bit. Sound effects, so I have to rewind here somewhere. Yeah, let's just play it again. Here we go. Can't miss this.
In terms of what was allowed to be said. Now, the next step is, of course, but Lou, you blew the biggest part. Department of Defense, I don't know what that is. You mean the Department of War, right, brother? The Department of War, man. You got to get with the times. It's the Department of War. Come on, man.
That's not my decision.
So, Ross, I mean, come on, man. I mean, nobody's going to trust you if you can't get the name of the place right. So, Ross, where does this become true success? What has to happen next? We give them their kudos for today. They did better than in the past. What next?
Well, okay, what I think was significant, and I'm pretty sure Lou will agree with me on this, was Representative Luna signaled that they're now going to be willing to use subpoenas to compel some possible witnesses to appear. And I think that's really important, because the big criticism that was being made before this hearing was that it was going to be a dog and pony show. And I was one of them. I was very skeptical going in, thinking that this was just going to be another boring hearing where you were hearing secondhand information. Instead, we did get some compelling witnesses firsthand to some serious concerning events. And we got this video, which, by the way, shows a willingness to use weapons by the United States against UAPs. This is the first time we've seen evidence in public of the US shooting down or attempting to shoot down UAPs, which is something I've been told is happening. What I think is going to be very, very significant now is whether Representative Luna and whether James Comer, who's the chairman of the Oversight Committee, allows her to subpoena witnesses who don't want to appear.
Greg, you just brought up, did you hear that inhale? Yeah, I heard it too. Who do you think it came from?
No, I was just thinking, I was just saying, because I heard, I don't know, I guess you have to have headphones on.
It wasn't me.
Say again?
It wasn't me.
No, it's Ross. It was Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you? No, I guess you have to have headphones on.
No, I don't have headphones on, but yeah, it was evident of taking that deep breath before he starts talking. Let's continue.
Yeah, I would like to see James Lakatsky, who's obviously he's a patriot, he's a good man, but he's under intense national security constraints. I would like to see Congress secure the permission to depose him under oath in public hearing. I'd like to see Admiral Thomas Wilson. I'd like to see a range of the aerospace executives.
I gotta bring this up and jump into it. James Lakatsky. And the others that he's bringing up. I have to say, honestly, Congress doesn't have the need to know to get into a skiff. And that's something that's been coming up recently. Congress wants to cover these things, but if you don't have the need to know, you're not going to get the clearance to go ahead and depose some of these people in a skiff, even though you want to. Let's continue with this video. Here we go.
Executives who are allegedly holding this technology in secret for the government.
And something I bet we also can agree on, although it's dicey. And if they say they can't, and all these lawyers get involved for the government saying, hold on, then tell the people who are qualified within Congress, who have the special clearance to hear it, and then let them communicate to the constituents. At least that. There can't be any, no, we're not going to talk. If you have to, if it's the only way, talk to Luna and all the other ones that have the right accreditation.
But Luna doesn't have the rights to do it. I'll cover this in a second. It's not Luna, it's the Gang of 8, if not the Gang of 4.
And then let them tell us in any way that they think is right. But we got to get something. Lou, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. Ross, I appreciate you so much putting us on the map.
So there we go. You know, we've got Chris Cuomo going out there and trying to go ahead and say, well, then we need to get Luna, other people who have the ability to hear this stuff. Greg, you've heard about this so many times in the past that truly those in Congress don't have the need to know. And because they don't have the need to know, they can't even, the people who they want to bring in the skiff can't answer the questions. Am I off, or what do you think?
No, you nailed it. I mean, we've all heard about the term stovepipe. You know, it's just they keep compartmentalized. They keep. I guess it's national security. There's that word again, right? National security. It's like give me a break. I'm tired of hearing that. But yeah, it's all stovepipe, and it is to keep, I guess, any espionage out of the system. You know, no spies.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if the spies are all the way at the top already. You know, who knows, man?
Yeah, it's a shitstorm either way, my friend. Something we need to deal with, something we want to try and get past. Any comments from anyone else in the back? No, didn't think so. I had hoped so, but let's see what I've got here. We've got that one. All right, so coming to us, Lue Elizondo on CBS News. Thanks to UAP James for this video clip over on X. We've never seen a Hellfire missile hit a target and bounce off. Interesting comments coming from Lou. Let's go ahead and see if I can, where did that go? I clicked on it. Let's get to the full video clip. Just 50 seconds. Here we go, folks. Let me jump along with everybody. Close enough. Almost. Go. A motion graphic. Here we go.
We've never seen a Hellfire missile hit a target and bounce off.
Lue Elizondo is a former senior intelligence officer with the Pentagon.
When a Hellfire makes a hit, a kinetic strike on something solid, there's usually not much left of whatever it is it's hitting. It's very, very destructive. What seems to happen is that the missile is either redirected or in some case perhaps glances off the object and continues on its way.
Does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes. Yes.
What are we even looking at here? Now, we do know the U.S. military is conducting regular airstrikes against Houthi targets and posed a threat to U.S. Navy and commercial vessels. Pentagon officials tell CBS News they have no comment.
Well, I gotta ask the question. Why would, okay, considering what we know about UFOs, right? Considering what we know they can or can't do. What did I do over here? Put that down. There we go. Let's get into it. Greg, did that scare you when you saw the UFO or the the Hellfire missile bouncing off the UFO? Or do you just feel it's like a something you would expect?
I mean, it definitely piqued my interest, but I would definitely need to see, like, hopefully there's, I mean, I was just thinking about that, Thomas. I guess that video was coming from, where was that video shot from? A plane or a satellite?
It was shot from a drone, a Reaper drone.
Okay.
There were two of them, apparently.
So that's the only kind of, picture or video or evidence that we have. I mean, there's satellites up, floating around. There's so much we could do better than that, one-on-one. So, I mean, again, definitely intrigued me, but because I know there's something weird. I've seen it. We've all seen it. Something weird. Who knows what it is? But what it is, I'm not sure. I need a better quality.
Yeah, we don't have a direct answer of what it is, but it's definitely something of interest. I've got some additional analysis here coming from ProPixel Video Analysis. He's got a great channel over on YouTube. He's been putting up some tweets on X going over it. In this first video that we're getting to, Greg, let me go ahead and bring this up. Where are we at? Let's get to it. All right, with you. All right, here we go. So after being hit with a missile, how long do we think a missile-sized hole would cause a balloon to deflate? Even if it's compartmented, this was a direct hit. The object seems to continue on with a very consistent size and shape after impact. Why no loss in size or apparent shape change? It should elongate in the vertical axis as it falls to the earth, as it depressurizes and more material becomes available as a flag. Now, one of the things, Greg, that's going on here in this conversation, or the overall global conversation, there's a lot of people. There's people like Matt Ford and other people who are out there saying, this is a balloon. It's just a balloon. It sounds like they're almost pulling up alongside of Mick West in the drive-in.
Yeah, I think that kind of analysis is even worse, especially for the community, because obviously we're definitely on someplace spectacular and there's something else out there.
Yeah.
So them to even say that, it's like, why, instead of that, just prove it and go out there and capture your own things. Prove us wrong. I mean, you just can't say, prove us. That's, to me, I'm still not convinced by this video, though. I've seen so many different things, got my hopes up so many different times. I'm going to need really true,
yeah, but what we can definitely say here, based on the video that's being shown, the balloon did not deflate afterwards. When we saw the close-up footage, the actual thing did recover, came back to it, objects came out of it, but then, as we can see in this extensive video, it kept on flying along. It's not like it deflated and fell to the ground. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, evidently. I mean, from what I see, it does look like an incoming object. It looks like it's coming from a higher elevation, right? It wasn't, okay, right, coming down maybe, what's that, like a 35, 28 degree angle? So, I mean, that's tough, man, even for it not even to bounce down the ocean, because it doesn't look maybe, like 100 meters, if that, above the ocean?
Maybe. It's hard to tell from this angle. We don't know. I guess maybe they were on 20,000 feet or something going on, but it's still, we're not seeing an object deflating and changing shape and hitting the ground. It continues on after the impact, which I'd say is amazing. Now, if we could, I think, Andy, you have your hand up?
Yeah, not that I'm any expert, but there's a couple of different types of hellfire. There's your air to ground, basically air to ground one with an explosive warhead. Now, I could consider that if this was a hypothetical balloon, if they fired one of these ones at it, it could bounce off and not penetrate. It's a pretty big balloon if it is a balloon. Also, there's also the one, I think it's the R9X. They call it the Ninja, which is the one that they use to unalive people. It's basically got some blades that spring out just before they hit the target and basically turn the target into mincemeat, for want of a better word. Now, if it was one of these, that this object, if it was a balloon, or even pretty enough, it's not going to survive a hit from one of them. And yet we see, as you showed last night, this thing lost three things came off it.
Right.
Somehow.
It's like they were ejected out. Imagine there were like 3 people on a double-decker bus. Something hit the bus, and you had 3 people fall out of the bus, but they didn't fall and hit the ground. They followed along with the bus as it continued down the road, which means that it's not your normal thing here.
Yeah, I would consider in my very, I've got no expertise in this field whatsoever. I would
You talk for a second, for 30 seconds, Andy. I'll be right back. Continue.
If something was to be ejected, to be knocked off of whatever this was, it would go in different directions. It would splash out from whatever this object is. It didn't. It followed in close proximity the same trajectory that this object did. I find it very strange that it did that. That's one of the reasons I don't believe it's a balloon. I don't know if anybody else has anything to follow up with that. I'm hoping somebody will kick in and have any conversation on this. Really, it's.
There's no way it was a balloon. There's just no way.
Yeah, Michael, I don't believe myself it was a balloon. It's just, a balloon would explode, would pop. If you took a household party balloon, you've only got to put a small thing like a needle against it. Yeah, it will burst.
Yeah. Coming on that, Andy, we've got the next video coming up from ProPixel Video Analysis and Research over on X. The moment the orbs separate from the main carrier system, it appears that they begin to operate independent and have unexplained movement for something they're not just falling. If this was a passive system with zero forward movement as a balloon, it would have, as it moves through the air, everything falling would be far more static than accelerating towards the ground. Without knowing the physical engineering of the larger object, it's hard to suppose how it should behave after being struck by a missile. It could be a very light material like carbon fiber. Carbon fiber, after being impacted, turns into basically a beach towel. Oh my God. And would have to behave like this, demonstrating a complete loss of structural rigidity. Interesting. Let's go ahead and play this next clip up here. And you can see as the object is hit, the elements come out of it and they form a formation, and they continue flying along with it, which kind of goes across the whole idea of you hit something, things fall out, they should fall down. Right, Andy?
Oh, definitely. But also as well, are they not following it about, roughly, if not exactly the same speed that this thing? They seem to not drift from the initial object.
If they fall, it's like you're falling out of a moving vehicle. Once you fall out, you should fall behind, but they're keeping up with it. Greg, I think you have your hand up on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, pardon me. I'm coming a little bit late to the party, but could it be like the things trailing, I guess the 1, 2, 3, like glowing objects I can see offhand? Could it be like it's trying to rejoin, to remold, so it doesn't lose any of, like, I guess its structure or its mobility? Like those things falling behind it will actually maybe perhaps grab back up to it and reform. But we've all seen Terminator.
Yeah,
2.
but the objects actually didn't go back into it. They just continued alongside of it, almost like they're potentially alongside it to protect it. Who knows?
As far as I was going to say, as far as we know, but who knows? Like out of sight, out of frame, to rejoin, just because they don't lose whatever that is. They don't lose any of that.
No,
right?
Good points. Absolutely great points, my friend. Let's see what else we've got here. If I jump back into the studio again and see what we've got to cover on X. Well, we've covered a bunch about the video and everything. Let me make sure I've got all. Well, we got that one taken care of. We got that video of Lue taken care of. I think we've pretty much gone through Lue Elizondo and his sightings today. On this point, I just want to get up to and cover some additional information about 3i Atlas. Greg, it's still out there. It's still something. It's changing as it's coming through our solar system. It's gone from something that they thought wasn't a comet. It started showing a coma, but now we've got it to where it's actually going ahead and putting off a green light. And there's some speculation out there that potentially what we're looking at is truly an interstellar object that we don't understand. Now, let me go ahead and see if I can find the bookmarks on this one, because shortly after the object went and turned green, let me go ahead and bring this up. Full guest, here we go. You can see the object of 3i Atlas unexpectedly turn green, and then shortly after it turned green, we have additional shots coming from Saturn with the big eye on Saturn, where it was putting off green light as well. Do you think this could be potentially linked to each other, Greg?
It depends, because that's Jupiter. I believe that's the great red eye on Jupiter. The Everstorm. So perhaps, who knows what's floating in the middle of the eye of that thing? So it could be reacting to any kind of like magnetic field or whatever. But I think green, what's that represent in a meteor? What is that? Or it's it's
cyanide?
Portside.
The green, when it comes in, you can tell what mineral it is when it comes in, hits our atmosphere. Look by the color. Anyway, It's like some kind of mineral, and it's like telltale.
Right. Marcus Mandel saying it's Aurora Borealis, but I don't think Aurora Borealis is usually seen at the poles, not in the center of the planet. Just saying.
Yeah, of course, but I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that this thing, most comets, usual comets, they eject from the rear.
Yeah.
But this one's actually coming from the nose, which is really wild. It's like a whole different thing. And most of the minerals and whatever's on there, the scientists have been discovering, nowhere compared to what they are on Earth.
Yeah.
I think it's an exploded star. Yeah.
It's something that we don't understand. And you know what, Greg? I think it's safe to say that if there are things we don't understand, that's okay, because humans want to think they know everything. They're the experts. But the truth of the matter is, what's been going on for interstellar objects flying through our solar system for what's been, for as long as, it's been around, we have no clue. We only have a sliver of a window of understanding what are the potential objects that have been passing through our solar system in perpetuity.
A mil was what, A81, right? Or whatever? The first one. Believe it or not, there was actually a second one right after Oumuamua. So this is actually the third one.
That's why it's 3I stands for third interstellar. Oumuamua was one. There was another one that came after it, and this is the third one. So, could this be a learning lesson of a type of object we don't know? We could try and say it's a spaceship or something, but there's not enough information to make that jump, is there?
No, and the atlas in front of it, is this where it was discovered from? I think it was a radio lab of some sorts. Forgive me, I don't know what state or where they are in the world, but Atlas was actually, I think it was a radio telescope that actually, so you know how you get to name comets and everything?
Yeah.
So, fun fact.
Andy, your hand is up, my friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think 2i was called Borisov, but I think Miss Cussout in chat has actually solved what 3i Atlas is. It's a balloon.
That's right. It is.
Oh, my goodness.
Not swamp gas. It's a balloon.
Yeah, don't forget, when it first had its color shift that was out there, people couldn't understand why that it went from the color that it was and it shifted to green. So it's just something that's out there. They're trying to explain it, but clearly it's scientists who are grabbing for explanations that may or may not make sense. But you know what? We'll figure it out as time goes on, right, Ms. Cuss Out?
Yeah, I hope they tell us the truth.
Yeah, I know. It's about just as much as them going ahead and giving us the truth on what's going on here, saying, oh, yeah, there's a small amount of people, a short amount of people showing up in London. But if you look at it, it's packed solid with people. So I guess the truth only comes down to what the government truly wants to give us and tell us is the truth, which comes down to the question, can we really trust the government and scientists who are working for the government when they're trying to give us an explanation, Ms. Cuss Out?
I don't know. I've become so disenchanted with our government. I don't know what to believe from them anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't.
It's like turning towards the wrong people to get the truth, unfortunately. Now,
yes.
if I go back to ProPixel again, yes, he's got another video up here. He said, and how about that, caught using a full spectrum camera coming from Reddit. And here we've got an object that looks like a Tic Tac, almost like the same shape as what we saw recently off of Yemen that was shot. We've got that overall bean shape kind of going on. It's not an egg shape, folks. It's a kidney shape with 3 orbs or 3 objects flying along with it. So, and it looks like in this example that those objects are being dropped and coming out of that main object. So I think we've got a tie down here to what we were seeing over Yemen. But as you can see, as the object is moving along, the objects are moving along with it. And in a different clip, we're seeing here's the objects being ejected by it. So I don't know, folks. What do you think, Greg? Could this be the same kind of an object, but we're seeing it from a different event?
Yeah, it's so hard to tell. Like, from this footage, to me, first thing, it's like, when what was it? The Columbia, came down that sort of way. But it could be a freaking rocket that just didn't make it all the way up, second stage.
Well, this doesn't look anything like a second stage where you see the swirls and all the kind of stuff, all the things coming off the rocket. This is just something you can't see it with your eyes, but with the right gear, you can actually go ahead and see it. And it just aligns with what happened in Yemen more than not, because you've got that same kind of a shape going, the other objects that are moving with it. I would just say, well,
that's an aircraft. Definitely what we just saw. Did you see like the FAA light?
No, I didn't.
If you go back,
so those are the 3 objects.
Really?
That came out of this craft.
That's wild. But do you see how it turns into like FAA lights though? Like it does. It like blinks. I think what's that? Right there.
Really? I'm not seeing a blink. I'm seeing one of them brightening up right here, but it's not like, but we're not going to see real colors because we're looking through a night vision camera.
Amen. Yeah, I get it. But that's, my first thoughts.
Yeah.
So, but they look attached though. Like when you first kick off the video, they totally look like there's some kind of
Greg, I think this is a good point for us to have a poll. Let's go ahead and create the poll, and we're going to say, jelly bean. Oh, there we go. Come on.
You're gonna give them like a multiple choice of what they think it is, or?
Yep.
Nice love. Did you just say jelly bean? Or did you say jelly bean?
Jelly bean UFO with orbs related to Yemen UFO.
Yemen.
Otherwise, it's a balloon.
There's only 2 options?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I'll make it easy. All right, audience, this is your chance to go ahead and vote for where we're going to deal with on this here. Let's get into it. Where is the logo? There we go. All right, you know that sound effect, friends. This is your chance to go ahead and vote. And let's see where our audience is taking it, Greg. Would you look at that already? 73% of our audience is saying it's related to the Yemen UFO, 83%, with 41 votes in already. 16%, 17% saying it's a balloon. If you could vote, or if you voted, how would you vote, Greg?
So there's no C, right?
No. Related to the Yemen UFO, or it's a balloon?
C. I don't see either. I have to go for C.
Andy, how would you have voted, my friend?
As there's no other options, A.
There you go. Laura Campbell said it's a balloon and it's filled with swamp gas. That means, Laura, you would vote for this related to the Yemen UFO.
Yes, Thomas.
Yes. Tim, how would you have voted on this one? Is it a balloon or related to the Yemen UFO?
Yeah, my opinion's changing pretty rapidly. I think UFO. This is UFO stuff.
Yeah. That means a lot because it's hard for you to jump over that edge, my friend.
It's good footage. It's frustrating. It goes in that gray box.
Yeah.
Is it good footage though, Tim? Is it really? You consider that good?
No, but from the source, we have to consider it good.
Okay. Yeah, I'll accept that.
Yeah. All right.
UFO.
Well, UFO. Michael Sokoloff says UFO. 30 seconds left. Hey, Google, set a timer for 30 seconds. Anyone else in the back want to call out what you think it is? Ms. Cussout, how about you?
I voted that it's related to the Yemen UFO.
And that's starting now.
Yeah.
I really don't know, though.
Alice, what say you?
UFO here.
UFO there. There we go. Is there anybody else we've missed? Oh, who we have?
UFO.
All right. Daryl, how were you at UFO?
Yeah, UFO. It's funny. I was watching this Jesse Michaels interview that he recently did. I think may have been the last one, but in the very beginning of his video, there's another image. It's not this one, but it's a triangle. Well, 3 points make a triangle. But
yeah.
It's triangle-like thing, what you see there, and another jelly bean-like thing in the very beginning of his video. And when that Hellfire missile accidentally missed its target, three things spun off the back or from underneath. So, yeah, I think there's some UFO relatedness here.
Yep, absolutely. Jay Albertson, what say you?
I'm going to say UFO related.
Yeah. And that's exactly where I would go ahead and vote, my friends. I think we've got everyone covered on this one. Anyone else has their hands up? Michael Sokoloff, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's I'm wondering about the 16% that thinks it's a balloon.
That's okay. Everybody has their own way to think how they see it.
Why do they think it's a balloon? I mean, if it's filled with swamp gas, maybe,
All right, let's go ahead and let me take a screenshot of this because we've gotten past our 2-minute time frame on it. Our final answer is 84% of our audience is saying yes, it's related to the Yemen UFO. 16% is saying it's a balloon. So for our friends out there in the audience who went and said it's a balloon, why do you think it's a balloon? We'd love to hear your answer on that. We'll bring it up on the chat. Maybe it's a dark star beach ball alien with toy and mice. No, I don't think so. Yes, it's a kidney bean. That's true. Kidney beans and UFO and jelly beans are the same kind of a shape. It takes time to realize, though. Wasteland Wanderer for your comment. Nope, we're not getting any answers from people in the audience who said it wasn't a UFO, that it wasn't related to Yemen. Interesting thoughts, though, my friend.
I think that people argue what Mick West had put out with Parallax, but I think that it doesn't fit that model, unfortunately. And I've scrutinized it, and I think that he leapt to that conclusion simply because we had that conclusion with Go Fast.
Yeah.
And he just took Go Fast recipe and mixed it in with this imagery and made a lot of assumptions.
So he's the kind of person who likes to call everything a balloon at that point, is what you're kind of saying.
A parallax illusion of something that's not moving that quickly. And so who knows what it is, but he's saying balloon, but he's saying it's not moving quickly, and that's his argument. I think that's why you're getting this percentage, is that the other side has put that kind of immediate footage and debunking, as we always see. 100%. Debunkers.
Yeah.
Sorry to butt in there, but yeah, no, I was gonna say Chris Leto believes it's a balloon. That UFO podcast guy, he had a guy on there who's an ammunitions expert. He said it was a balloon. So I didn't vote on the 16% side, but I can see where somebody would when these figures are saying they're balloons.
But you got to consider the source, right? And so why would they put this out as UFO if they've already considered that? They have people that work with NASA. NASA came out long ago saying that there was something else going on. So this is gray box material.
Yeah, it is, my friends. And just I something screwed up with the chat here. I want to go ahead and thank FaZe Wolf for that wonderful, if you want to call it, super chat coming in for $20. It's out of the main list of things. I've got everything restored here, but thank you very much, FaZe Wolf, for your continued support on this front. Yeah, and Tim, it's an interesting situation. We look at the objects that we're seeing in the sky. We basically have to go ahead and truly take an open mind to what's going on. And we did in the back, we do have Alice and Michael have their hands up. Alice and then Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, Thomas, do they know how many feet this thing was? How large the object was?
I think the overall Hellfire missile is like 3 or 4 feet long, so it's something along the size of that potentially.
Because my next survey would have been whether it was people thought it was manned or unmanned if it was large enough, but it doesn't seem like it was.
You got to remember, Alice, not everything in the UAP world is on human scale. So although it could be only a number of 3 or 4 feet in size, you get on the inside, it could be the size of a football field.
Yeah, I'd like to see if something would survive that impact. You know what I mean? Like if it was manned, would they have the ability to just bounce off of things like that?
Manned or alien at that point, because I don't think there was actually a man on that ship. All right, the next person who we have with their hands up is Michael Sokoloff. Go ahead.
If you showed a video of a 747 flying across the sky, I wonder how many people would identify it as a balloon.
Probably not a lot.
Would there be any?
That's a good point, Michael. You never know, I guess.
We're going to have to ask.
Yeah. Exactly. If we can now, getting back to the last story on hand, we're talking about, let me find this one here. Yes, 3i Atlas. It's not just a dusty coma. It's an organized and layered, could it be electromagnetic cocoon that's evolving as it dives towards the sun. If you care about UAP adjacent plasma physics, magnetotails, and field structures matters, let's jump into it. Now, what we're seeing is an unusually deep negative polarization branch and a delayed flip to positive signatures that don't match normal comets. In other words, what we're dealing with here is clearly a interstellar object that we don't understand. In short, the light scattering is being shaped by unconventional dust and plasma physics, not a vanilla ice and dust cloud. Now, if you want to talk about the rings, nipples, and layers, across small changes in the phase angle, 3i Atlas swings from negative to positive polarization with a sharp structure consistent with filaments and double layers in the dusty plasma, where fields organize and particles over vast scales. That's what you expect in a magnetized environment, not just random outgassing. Andy, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, I just wonder who's actually tracking 3i Atlas. Is it purely NASA, or are there other observatories that are not affiliated with NASA?
Well, NASA's tracking it. We've got the James Webb Space Telescope. We've got the Hubble Space Telescope. And I'm sure there are plenty of telescopes on Earth that are trying to keep an eye on it. But from where it's at now, I think it's kind of hiding behind the sun, isn't it? Or getting close to it?
I think is it after the 29th of October, it's not, is it perihedron?
Yes, it'll be on the opposite side of the sun. So we haven't gotten there yet. Good point, my friend.
the issue I always have is, and it's not, I don't like saying it, is, if it's purely being observed by NASA on their own with no independence, it's kind of like,
oh, never a straight answer, not a space agency. They're an intelligence agency, and they're there to cover things up for national security. That's what NASA's turned into, at least. Potentially, that's what they've always been, but they finally changed and let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, it's what we've always, what we've always suffered from with the moon landings. All of that information was given to us from NASA. Had the Russians been eavesdropping and whatever have you, they may have had something else to say. And no, I'm not a Russian agent. The only thing I'm rushing at, well, I don't rush anyway, is out the door at work. So it just makes me wonder who's actually observing this object as it comes in.
Well, it seems to be observed coming worldwide because, the current observations worldwide are showing a growing tail and brightening coma, yet other data sets and analysis highlight unusual orientation of an anti-tail behavior at times, and evidence of solar wind and geometry are doing more than just pushing dust straight back. Now, as solar UV particles hit 3I Atlas, dust grains and gas get charged in the interplanetary magnetic field, and you can sculpt coherences, shells, and arcs with alternating polarization zones. That's exactly what you would expect from polarity. Polymerity is flagging here. Now, the red body, green shroud, the nucleus inner coma looks like deep red from radiation processed organics, while the outer glow tips green, and a dual signature more in with the trans-Neptunian like skins and active coma chemistry than your average Oort comet. Greg? Or someone had their hand up. I guess not. Let's continue on.
Well, wait a second. Real quick, just a little bit of favor to everybody. Like Annie was just asking or stating, who's in charge of watching this is at NASA. But the beauty about this is all you need is an eyepiece just to look up and something to look through. Anyone can see this. Yeah, it's not going to be the optimal, point, because like Annie was saying, it's the optimal point is behind the sun. I believe, what's that, parallax? If I'm not mistaken. We can't see it. And that's just one of the, I think one of the many things that is strange about this, how it just cuts through our, through our little solar system at the right angle, to watch our giants and then pass behind the sun and just fly out of here, barely undetected. It's wild, man, but still, it's cool. Yeah.
It's completely different from what we're dealing with as it races towards its October 29th perihelion. Andy?
Yeah, that's, Greg's just brought out a really interesting for me. It's the actual, I'm going to use, for want of a better word, the flight of this object, but how it actually does, I think, is it Jupiter, Mars, and Venus? It basically comes this side of them, but then goes behind the sun when it's closest to us. For me, that's the most interesting thing of this object. It may be a trillion to one that this is actually doing this. It might be a natural transit.
Yeah.
But it's a funny thing that when it's actually its closest visible point to us, it's gone behind the sun.
Yeah.
Our solar system is people may picture of it like kind of like, when you see like an atom, hanging on your like 6th grade wall in science class. It's not like that. Our solar system is flat. We all revolve around one circular, and for it just to cruise right in, it's the most important. And Saturn was one of them as well, I believe, Andy. And then, like you said, dip out behind the sun and cruise out. And 3 of them, like it hasn't been something that happened way out there.
Right. So what you're saying, Greg, is because our overall planetary system is flat, you've got an object that's coming in from interstellar space. It could easily impact with our planet and go through it on an angle, but what we're seeing is from these objects, they're literally coming in at the same angle where our particular solar system is and passing right through it at the appropriate ecliptic angle that would bring it right through the center of our solar system, not coming down, not coming up, from the particular angles that this object could be hitting. So that does raise some questions, doesn't it?
It's the perfect pool shot. Anybody who loves to play pool, it's the perfect pool shot.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Exactly. Kyle, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, and if you look at the rendering, it gets to hide behind Venus as well. Venus will be between it and Earth.
That it does, and it's coming in along with Mars and Saturn and close to Venus, just not close to good old good old Earth here from our standpoint. And it makes you wonder, we have that huge gash that we have on Mars that goes across the entire planet that could have destroyed its atmosphere at a period of time when it hit. Could that have been possibly caused by an interstellar object like 3I Atlas?
Thomas, how fun to think would it be? Like, what if this was like, we've all heard about like Planet X, right?
Yeah.
What if this is like part of the demise of Planet X? Because how like the orbit around the sun, it's so long, I forgot how many years. I'm not that brushed up on it, but it takes long. So what if something happened way out there, and this is part of that Planet X that we've been hearing about for so long?
It could be. That's why we're keeping an eye open on it. And there's a lot of people always keep on throwing the baby out with the bathwater, saying it's just a comet. But the thing is, it's not behaving like a comet. It's not looking like a comet. There's something different about it. And, this is the third interstellar object. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we get to the number 30, Greg. Because I don't think this is the first. This isn't the first, and it definitely won't be the last.
You read my mind. You read my mind, Fred.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
watch how it pans
people
out.
are calling out. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, hopefully it would be more, now if we do see a fourth and a fifth, I guarantee by the 10th, we will have something in place to either like mine and bring it back close to us. You know what I mean? So it's looking forward to it.
I got you, my friend. It isn't just venting ice. People are saying it's charging, structuring, and shelling a plasma organism in a solar wind. The cocoon that's coming around it, could it be the clue? We're going to go ahead and keep on following this and seeing what's going on, and we'll keep an open mind to it as much as we can when Mike's not here, and try and find out what the truth is. Exactly.
Amen, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right where we should be.
Absolutely, my friend. Hey, Greg, I think we've about covered everything else. Is there anything else you'd like to cover today, or anyone else in the back?
I mean, if we can got time for like weird sea creatures, I got time.
You brought that up earlier this morning, my friend. On that note, as we usually say, I want to thank everybody for your wonderful super chats today. Who am I talking about? I want to go ahead and thank FaZe Wolf for your super chat initially. It's not showing in the log, but Laura Campbell, Mr. Grimlock, Liz W., and Mr. Catfish 2100. Of course, I want to thank everybody for your wonderful support of what we do here at Disclosure Tonight. We're a fan-funded program. We are very thankful for everyone who chips into the kitty for what we've got going on here. And as we usually say, Greg, at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. Y'all come back now. Here, take care. Bye-bye.